Caelus' blank gaze was directed at the sky. The bright sunlight seemed to be absent from sight. Anything King instantly tightened his chest painfully, so he wished he wouldn't think of anything. He was breathing just simply, but that's all. Then, there was a quiet knock on the door. It's Eurus, my lord. He forced his dark, disheveled minds away. Come in. He managed to understand the low voice, and the door opened without a sound. We have a visitor. Everything was annoying now. He answered promptly without looking away. Send them back. But the butler did not budge and spoke once more. It is Hyperion. It was Helios whom he met for the first time after he got married. What should he do when he's not ready to face Helios peacefully yet? If he could, he wanted to avoid it forever. But, let them in. The lingering attachment that I couldn't bring to an end made him seem like a fool. After a while, a tall man in a black robe appeared. Cael. To be honest, Helios was shocked. Caelus thought he was a friend who celebrated marriage by hugging. However, in just a few days, his face revealed nothing. Only then did he dare to guess the size of the wound that his old friend had hidden inside. The silver hair on the sofa crept up. The voice of the parched Caelus rang. Are you enjoying your new marriage? I want to ask you. Helios slumped into his seat. Are you really married? Caelus, whom he knew, was a very cold-hearted man. He was never such an impulsive person to commit the act of marriage. Suddenly he heard laughter. Why? You thought you'd be the only one getting married. Did you think carefully? She looked pretty suspicious. Caelus burst out laughing at the concern of his old friend, who was so kind. What's the point of being careful about life? What? Helios was ridiculous. Was he saying that the Caelus in front of him was really him? Cael, what the hell does that? I was going to die. Helios froze where he was. On the other hand, Caelus' expression remained calm as always. She was the one who interrupted it. She used her foresight to break into my room. It's a shame. The purple eyes were just as transparent as a glass egg. I just gave her what she wanted because she wanted to get married. That way, it won't be a bother. Helios read the extreme resignation from his friend's eyes. Instinctive questions that had not been asked popped out. Why didn't you tell me? Caelus looked at him in wonder. What did he have to say? The golden eyes of Helios slowly fluttered. If you've suffered so much, I wish you'd told me earlier. Caelus chuckled. Yeah, everything is my fault. The long silver hair shook greatly as Caelus rose to his feet, raising a cool air. It was all my fault that I loved, that someone died, and that I was eventually devastated. It's all the consequences of me being bad. What do you mean devastated? Helios was in a daze. Something was wrong. He was sure Caelus wished him happiness with a warm smile. Meanwhile, Caelus continued to mutter as if possessed. It's all my fault. I was stupid. What am I doing alive? Everything I do. He couldn't breathe for a moment due to the sudden surge of pain. Caelus pressed his chest with great urgency. Oh my God. Cael. Helios was horrified. He rushed up and cried out to help Caelus. Eurus. Yes. Caelus waved his hand hard, but Eurus, who was outside, appeared like a monster. Master. Whoa. I told you. Butler. Where's the doctor? The loud noise of the two made Caelus' head throb. Fortunately, his breathing soon stabilized. Ugh. It's noisy. Eurus, get out. But, what? Does this house put Helios' words before mine? He was angry at the hesitant Eurus. Eurus immediately bowed his head and backed down. I'm sorry, get out. The butler was thrown out without saying another word. Helios was fed up with the cold attitude of Caelus. Cael, sigh. This is what happens when you come unexpectedly. Helios managed to speak to Caelus, who was muttering bitterly. I'm sorry, I really didn't know anything. Yes. Caelus snorted lightly. Helios apologized again. I'm sorry for what I just said. I was careless. Cold relief went over his eyes. Just tell me what you want. Oh, did you come to confirm my marriage? Caelus walked slowly to the desk. Helios' dull voice behind his back. No, the problem is, that's enough. Because I knew you really married her, and that she actually had the power of prophecy. I got a call last night that a troubled thief was caught, as she promised. Yeah, so. Helios was speechless for a moment. That face that looks like everything is wrong. It was completely unimaginable with the original Caelus. No, nothing. I had no reason to doubt. Helios finally realized for sure. The woman who claimed to be Caelus' companion was truly a savior who saved him. I had to correct my first impression of Hestia. She wasn't just a nymph who hid her insidious innermost thoughts and approached Caelus. Caelus' eyes suddenly blurred. Actually, I know it will be okay. Caelus struggled to smile at his staring friend. It was my pride. I just need you two to be happy, and I'll be comfortable soon. I was able to face my true feelings only when I was pushed to the edge of the cliff. It's completely jagged. I didn't have a clue how to hold on. So, finally, I decided I'd rather die. Helios' mouth didn't hastily open. Caelus' voice continued. To be honest, I'm disappointed that I survived unexpectedly. It's not easy to make that resolution again. But thanks to you, I realized something. Let's be more honest with ourselves from now on. Caelus' lips, which were smiling, twisted faintly. So, let me tell you in advance, I won't be able to laugh with you and Diana anymore. Helios closed his eyes tightly, a declaration that we could never go back to the same old relationship. What he had been determined to do since he got Diana finally became a reality. But if, on that day, Caelus really went wrong. It's okay, Cael. I'm truly glad you're alive. He still didn't like Hestia, but if it weren't for her, he and Diana would have to live with a guilt that they'd never erase. For that alone, he should thank Hestia. Caelus laughed lonesomely. Thank you for thinking so. Helios left Caelus' room helplessly. The waiting Neuros bowed deeply. I'll take you outside. There was a moment of silence while walking. Then Helios spoke cautiously. Why didn't you tell me about Cael? Was it the Marquis decision? That has never been officially ordered. But if Lady Hestia didn't tell you when she saw you, she must have considered both your highness and your position. Helios asked again, thinking of something. Is Caelus getting along well with that woman? Hestia, you're not happy with it, but we recognize her as another master of this family. Eurus answered honestly. Helios again had to revise his assessment of Hestia. He didn't even know she was a lot more formidable than he thought. I'll send them a wedding gift sometime soon. That's amazing, Your Grace. The masters will be pleased. Eurus thanked him politely. Diana greeted Helios, who had returned from his covert activities. How was the Marquis? Helios' expression was not very bright. Diana's heart was filled with anxiety. Was there a problem? Caelus's. He couldn't believe it was so hard to bring up. Helios was at a loss where to begin to release his heavy heart. Diana's fine eyebrows were slightly distorted. What's wrong with you? On the day we got married, Caelus tried to kill himself. Diana's heart sank. Although she harshly criticized Caelus, she didn't want him to die like Princess Latona. It was the Marchioness who prevented it from happening. She knew in advance with her foresight. Thanks to her, Caelus lived. Oh, looking at Diana, who was speechless, Helios' gold eye sank heavily. I need to find out more about Hestia. Diana, it's not normal. In what sense? Diana asked, feeling constrained. Dark anxiety, which could not be accurately identified, continued to attack her. Helios' eyes sharpened. It's hard for me to say for sure. First, we need to find out what the real purpose of Hestia's marriage to Caelus is. Yes, Diana could do nothing else but rely on him. Helios was the only one she can trust.